Hey guys, so Lily is in her bed, and while I have some daylight left, I thought it would be good to do the worst moments, or the not as good moments about Sears. And like I said in my best moments video, I really don't have anything negative about the company itself. These stories are going to be all mostly customers and other random things. I guess for my first story, if I had to say anything negative about working at Sears, it would be I did not like selling the credit cards or pushing them or, asking if people wanted them. So actually, after the first 2 weeks of working there, I stopped asking people. It just meant I had no chance at bonuses. I never really got bothered about it more than twice, so I just figured, well, I'll just deal with being bothered by the manager and it's worth it. But in the first 2 weeks, when I was brand new and knew nothing about how the credit card thing worked, I had a customer say, sure, I'll apply for one. And her one stipulation, or her one thing she did not want to happen, she did not want the money she was purchasing these items with to go on the credit card. And she said, if I get accepted for this credit card, will it charge the credit card for my purchase today? And me, I should have said, I don't know, I'll ask. But I didn't, and instead I said, no, I won't do that. I didn't know that. I actually had no idea. But I figured that the machine would ask me, do you want to put it on the card? And I would just say no. Well, it didn't. She got accepted. The purchase went right on the card. She was not happy. I felt very embarrassed and bad, because that was totally my fault. So we had to call a manager over. She reversed, I think she had to pay it off and then pay with a new card. I don't even know how it worked. So I guess that one was totally my fault, but the customer was nice enough about it, and she said, just maybe next time be sure of what you're saying, which, yeah, she was right about that. So for this next story, I had a customer come in, and he bought a ton of stuff, just mostly clothes, just a lot of it, probably over $100 worth, maybe $200 worth, I don't remember, but it was a lot. And he paid for it, and he walked out to his car, and he, after a few minutes, storms back in. And I was a little bit worried that I did something wrong. I overcharged him. I did something, I don't know. But so he came up to me and he said, you didn't tell me that this was a family and friends day. I was new at this point, I didn't know about family and friends day. So I said to him, I'm sorry, I didn't know that this was family and friends day, and he basically didn't believe me. He was like, yeah, whatever. I forget what he said, but he insinuated I was lying. And so so he asked me, can I just come back with my receipt tonight after 6 o'clock and get the 20% off? So I asked my coworker, who was next to me at this point, I asked her, do you think you can do that? And she said, yeah, I think so. I think we even called a manager, or we called a more experienced coworker or something, and they said, yeah, we can do that. So I told him, sure, I'll do that. Or we can do that if you come back in later tonight. So 6 o'clock comes around, and the guy comes back in, and I think I needed a manager's approval or something to make this work. So I called the manager, and she said, we technically aren't allowed to do this. Who gave you permission to tell him that we could do this? And so, of course, I'm basically cowering in fear of this customer who's staring me down, has called me a liar. And he's mad. He comes back in mad, even though I told him, that we could do this for him. And the manager is kind of upset with me, and so everyone's upset with me. And it was just a horrible, horrible experience. So the guy got his discount, and he goes on his way, and the manager is just just so you know, next time, don't do that. I feel like this one is pretty typical for most retail workers. So at my main register I worked at, it was the Mrs., or juniors or whatever it was called, but it was like the juniors section behind me and to the left of me, and then in front of me was like the women's area. I would mostly organize the junior section. They had dresses behind me, like a whole section of dresses, so I like to organize the dresses. When I was almost done organizing this whole section of dresses, this mom and daughter come in. The mom and the daughter start going through these dresses, and I don't know why it's so difficult to put a dress back where you find it, but I went back to my register to man it, because in case they decided to buy a dress, but I watched them as they would pick up a dress and put it in a completely different place, like a different rack. They would hold it up and then put it to the next rack over. Like they wouldn't even put it back. So by the time they were done shopping, it was like I did nothing. They messed it up so badly. I walked over there and like looked around and tried to like put it back from before they got there, and I couldn't. It was destroyed. I was left baffled. How did they mess it up so much? That's that story. So yeah, I kind of feel like that one's typical. So my last story. This one is funny, and I enjoyed this one. I was working at closing time, and I was working upstairs. So there's one register upstairs, and all the floor stockers had gone home. So there was nobody on the floor. It was basically closing time, 9 o'clock. There were no customers, and I was counting my register, counting my money, making sure my drawer balanced. And my manager came up and he said, when you're finished counting your drawer, just check the whole floor to make sure there's no customers left. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I finished counting my drawer, and I knew there were no customers, but I wanted to check anyway. I start walking, and this upstairs is like this long corridor. It's a big, wide corridor, but it's long. So I start walking down this corridor. There's nobody around, and the music is still playing. And all of a sudden, the music switches to the beginning of Thriller. Michael Jackson's Thriller. And I don't know, the ambience of that music alone in the store at 9 at night, it was freaky. And so I like start running down the aisles, checking for customers, and I basically like skimmed the back of the store and then like just started fast walking all the way back to the escalator. You know, the beginning, dun, dun. And I was like, it's freaky. So I made it out safely. I was like, oh no, there's a monster up here. That's why the song started playing. So that was like the freakiest thing ever. But it was just me. It was just my mind playing jokes on me and the store music. So those were my bad experiences working at Sears. And these are my only retail stories because I only worked at Sears as like a retail store. It was the only one I ever worked at. And I only worked at Sears for about 3 months. So, you know, my experiences are limited. I have respect for people in all businesses, but I can empathize with retail a tiny bit. So, yes. So that is my stories from Sears. I was thinking of sharing some stories from babysitting because I babysat for way longer than I did Sears, and I have plenty of babysitting stories to share. So let me know if you want to see those. I'll probably do a video anyway, but just to record them because I think it'd be fun. But yeah, let me know if you have any more video requests or anything you want to see, and we will see you guys in the next video. Alright, bye guys!